What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan. I am back with my top 5 bets for the weekend in the world of mixed martial arts. And you mightn't think it, but there's a UFC pay-per-view card on this weekend. There is a pretty good one championship card on as well. If you haven't seen my preview for that, it is already out. So please check that out. There's some Oktagon, which I'll go through as well. And yeah, that's kind of the top and bottom of it for this weekend. So we'll have a chat about all of that. I'll give you my 5 bets, and we'll go from there. It's been a good couple of weeks in terms of the bets. Last week I think was a good sturdy week. The week before, obviously, we hit 4 from 4. It's not a year for the Flyers. I've kind of just given up on my Flyers this time, but we went last week 2 from 4. Sorry, very unlucky on one, and another not great. So the picks that came up: Karina Silva at -148. I actually think she came in a little bit, so maybe if you held off on that, you might have got a little bit of a better price. But that's still a good price. Joras Medic at almost even money, -105. I had him down at last week to get the knockout, and he did pretty handily in that fight. So that was a pretty good pick. The Mikael Figlak at -150 bet didn't come through. Very close fight. I thought he won it. Personally, I don't have a major gripe with the judging or anything like that. A very, very close fight, but just from my own point of view, I thought he did win it. But look, it's one. The judges were looking at it in a significantly closer way than I was, I can assure you. And then Matthias Nicolau was the 4th bet. I thought he fought a particularly bad fight. I did a whole podcast on it last week in the Severe MMA podcast, how I feel like sometimes when we're analysing the fights, we really only analyse the good. And this was one of those fights where I think the bad of Nicolau almost outweighed. That's unfair, but if you're looking at it from the Perez point of view, he fought a brilliant, brave fight. But if you're to look at it from the Nicolau point of view, he fought such a bad fight. And you know, I gave him as one of my bets. I actually hadn't betting it myself. I had a couple of other bets on the weekend, but if you're one of the people who had betting it, and I don't think it was necessarily a bad price, it was just one that I didn't manage to do at the weekend. I would have been fairly pissed off with, you know, the way he fought. And I suppose when we talk about the betting show, it's sometimes hard to park that, isn't it? When you're talking about the fights versus talking about the bets, sometimes you need to park it. If you're talking, you know, if you're discussing betting, okay, like we are here, we can talk about that. But if you're just breaking down analytically the fight, you can't talk about that, and you shouldn't. And it's something you know what, I've kind of found easy, but I think, you know, betting and legalized betting and stuff is very new in America. Obviously, it's not very new here. I've basically known it my whole life, so I think it's maybe easier for us in this side of the world to kind of park it and not let it intrude the whole sport, I say. But it feels like in America it's pretty tough to do that. And I know, you know, people are betting overseas and all, and it's not, you know, you can't drink until you're 21 type of thing, you know. But still in all, I think it's more pervasive and more accessible now, and it's definitely a thing we have to think about and talk about when we're talking about the fights, and on this betting show especially. And the Flyer then a little bit unlucky. Guskov round 1 KO was my bet at +425. He got it in round 2. Unfortunately for us, so that bet is no good. Only for Herb Dean making up his own rules. I think we probably would have got it, but alas, we didn't. Right, let's move forward and let's look at this weekend's bet. So I have one bet from one championship, and I'll run you through the rest of the one championship prices. And then I have 4 bets from UFC 301. So let's look at our one championship bet first. And if I can pull this up, and it works this week very good. My first bet of the week is Yong at +160 over Reese McLaren. So that's the first bet I'm going for this week there. Now, if you listen to my preview show, I picked him. I think it's a relatively close fight, but before I'd seen any of the prices, when I just did the analysis, I was like, okay, he's my pick. And then when I actually had this bet picked yesterday. It wasn't up on best fight odds yet, and I was waiting for the rest of the odds to come up before I recorded. And this has gone from, I believe it was +148 out to +160, not on best fight odds, but on the The other place I looked at, it's been plus 160. It's literally not only a few hours, I think, up on best fight at the time of recording. So that could go out even further again by that logic, and I think that's a great price. So if you'd given to me at even money, I probably would have been taking this as one of my bets of the week. But at plus 160, I think that's an absolutely phenomenal bet altogether. And now, having said that, right, okay, it's by no means a blowaway fight. It's a close fight, but I do really like Yong in that fight an awful lot. And I suppose if you listen to the previous show, you'll already have heard my reasons, but I will outline them again for you here, I suppose. Like, if you look at both of them, the way they fight, like, McLaren is one of these guys who's, it's weird, I always talk about him fighting, in kickboxing and all that, but he has a good bit of MMA experience now. He's fought 25 times in mixed martial arts, even more than Yong, who's only fought 16 times, but he's still very much a stand-up fighter, and a very, very good stand-up fighter at that as well. He's a southpaw that throws a lot in the outside, throws a lot of big power shots. He has John Wayne Parr in his corner, but he's good on the ground as well, good jiu-jitsu and all of that. But I'll talk more about him in a second. The other side of it, though, and why I'm picking Yong, is the way he loads up his shots. And what I say, loads up is actually the completely wrong phrase to use, because it has other connotations, I suppose, in MMA. But he loads them up in a very technical and effective way. He sits low, just ready to throw a great chin as well. And, his biggest deficiency, I suppose, like McLaren in some ways, is he's wrestling, but I don't think that should be a massive issue here. He's lovely leg kicks. He throws that oblique kick all the time. Maybe throws a little bit too many leg kicks, but I think that'll be effective in this fight. But he's all big movements, loves to win one big shot. Great right hand, lovely strikes. One of the biggest issues for him is he kind of backs up. McLaren is the type of guy who will come forward, but he's more of like a, he'll fight you in in a methodical way, right? He is strong and technical, but it's not as if he's going to attack you in a very big menacing way. Now, he can if he needs to, obviously, but I think that will help. And look, Yong's biggest issues are that when he gets backed up and getting taken down. He can wrestle himself. He actually is good go forward wrestling, which actually might help him against McLaren as well. But I think his movement, the way he's always on the move, throwing those big shots, if he does get on top, if he does land the big shots, I think he'll cause McLaren big issues. Now, look, McLaren can cause him issues as well if this turns into a technical striking match where it's your jab and your right hand and he's pushing Yong backwards. Of course, McLaren can beat anyone at that weight class, but if there's a bit of madness, if there's a lot of leg kicks, if there's someone kind of getting knocked out, and remember as well, one championship scoring system is not round by round. The fight is scored as a whole. So McLaren could, control 14 minutes of this fight. Yong could win 3 or 4 big parts of this fight and win the fight. So I think that's a big part of this as well. Like, he is a finisher. As I said, he's had I think it was 9 of his 16 fights, or 10 even, I think, have finished inside the distance. For someone down in the flyweight division, that is a lot. McLaren is one of those guys I always talk about him, right? Because he's such a good striker, people take him down an awful lot, and his jiu-jitsu has become very, very, very good. So if Yong does take him down, I'd be worried about that. He's 13 finishes and 9 of them are submissions. A little bit like, Anthony Pettis was like that as well. He'd more, I think he'd more submissions than knockouts in the UFC, and it's just because people kind of keep taking him down. He worked on that part of his game and made it very, very good. But it's an important fight as well, I think, for the division. McLaren is always thereabouts, but he's lost 2 of his last 4, one of which was to Yuya Wakamatsu. Yong on the other side of it then has won 3 in a row. Like, he beat Eko Ronnie last time on. That Eko Ronnie win as well, I meant to mention that. That's one of the main decisions why I'm picking him here. I think Eko Ronnie is a very good striker and, probably good preparation for this. And he finished him in, 63 seconds. He finished Jehu Sakio as well in the first round, who is a very, very, very good fighter. But he's also lost to Yuya, but He's had a great run all around that. He's won, what is it, like 9 of his last 10 fights, something like that. As I said, a lot of finishes. And he is a very talented guy, and I love him at that price. Plus 160 for Yong. So that is the first bet of the week. Let me take you through the other prices here from One Championship. There isn't a whole lot of them up, but the main event in the Muay Thai, Smila Sundell against Natalia Dichkova. Obviously not the biggest expert on that in the world, but I really like that fight. I'm not surprised to see Sundell is the favorite, but I watched a good bit of Dichkova for the preview, and I really like her. I actually like her chances an awful lot as well. If she can stay in open water, that plus 150 bet becomes very nice, but it's very hard against Sundell. I wouldn't go against that at all. This fight, if you don't know about this fight, Akbar Abdullayev against Halil Amir, 10-0 versus 10-0. I put Abdullayev up there as one of my top prospects on planet Earth right now. He's in my top 3, but he hasn't fought half the quality that Halil Amir has. So Amir's 10-0 is a way better 10-0 than Abdullayev. I think Abdullayev has a higher ceiling. I think he's one of the best prospects in the world, but Amir is also one of the best prospects in the world. That's a real pick'em fight. Minus 170. I do think Abdullayev will win. I think the line is exactly right? I think that's exactly correct the way they have it there. Either guy could win it. I would slightly give Abdullayev the lean. Oh, watch that fight. I'm telling you, that's the fight of the weekend. What a great fight. We talk about Yong. In that one, I'm going for him plus 160, minus 210 for McLaren. And then we have Chichiro Savala at minus 350 plus 250 Grandjean. I think that's about right too. I probably would have had Sawada maybe minus 500, maybe minus 450. So I think she'll win. I favor her in a significant way in that one. So yeah, that's the One Championship look at the weekend anyway, if you fancy that. Okay, let's move forward. And let's look at bet number 2. And this is a respect bet here. This is a respect bet I'm going for. And let me just check the updated price here again. Yeah, it's about the same. Plus 138, Jose Aldo over Jonathan Martinez. Again, a respect bet. I went back and I watched a bit of Martinez to, I suppose, give him his respect as well and look at him as a fighter. Because like I feel like a lot of the talk about this is, Martinez is a very good leg kicker, and obviously, look, that stands out in him, no problem. But he can do other stuff as well. Like, he's a good, well-rounded fighter. You know, he's 23 fights into his career. He's 30 years of age. He's been fighting since, 2014, 10 years, a year more as an amateur as well. This guy is no joke. He fought Matt Schnell back in 2015, Andre Sukum in 2018 in his first UFC fight, and he's Andre Yul, Sinez, Tomas Almeida, Cub Swanson, Zaire Nurmagomedov, Adrian Yannis, his last 3 wins in a row. He's won 6 in a row. This guy is no joke. He's a very, very, very good fighter. And if Jose Aldo is not at his best, he absolutely has the ability to beat him. As I said, he's won 2 of his last 3 fights via leg kick, TKO, and okay, we're all going to look at that, and maybe that's the reason why this fight is happening. But he decisioned Said Nurmagomedov, he decisioned Vince Morales, he decisioned Alejandro Perez and a few more as well. So he's well able to win a fight all around. Would he beat the best Jose Aldo we've ever seen? I don't think so, right? Jose Aldo is one of the best fighters to ever live. There's no mistake, no doubt about that. If you're only a new fan who's been around for a few years, and and I know a lot of people say, Conor McGregor knocked him out, and Jesus, that's when a lot of people got into the sport, and you've seen him lose to a good few people before that, since that, but before that, and even after that. Look, after that fight, he beat Frankie Edgar. I know a colleague of mine over here in Ireland, Ryan, gosh, what's Ryan's second name? Ryan Murphy? I can't remember. That's good for me. He put up a highlight of the Edgar Aldo fight after it happened. He goes, Conor McGregor knocked him out in 13 seconds, and his next fight he decided not to get hit. It was one of those. That's how good Jose Aldo was. That's how mentally strong he was as well. The way he came back from that knockout was just so great after it. But before that, Mendez, Lamas, the Korean Zombie, Frankie Edgar, Mendez again, Florian, Hominick, Gamborian, Faber, Brown, Cobb, Jonathan Brookins even back in the day. You forget how good Jonathan Brookins was. Phil Harris, all the way back in the day. This lad, this guy, Jose Aldo, one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen. And even the run, beating Jeremy Stevens, Mike Hanna, Vera Munoz, Rob Font, only to lose to Marab in a fight that he very much could have won. Like, if Jose Aldo is at 75%, and this is no disrespect to Jonathan Martinez, he wins the fight. Because his jab, his leg kicks, his defense, his speed, all of it. Jose Aldo is one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. Make no mistake about that. With all due respect to Jonathan Martinez, he's a very good fighter, but he's no Jose Aldo, right? Now, here's the question, and this is the only question, really. Is Jose Aldo? Right? Jose Aldo hasn't fought since 2002. He hasn't won since 2001, December. He's been doing a bit of boxing. Is he coming in here just to finish his contract so he can go somewhere else, so he can box, so he can, maybe fight Conor McGregor if he gets out of his contract, or go to PFL or whatever it might be? Is he just doing that and he doesn't care about this? I think he might be doing that. Does he care? I think he'll care. I think he's a very proud guy. I don't think he'd go into Rio and not try and not care. And that's kind of why I'm picking him. As I said, it's a respect pick. I respect Jose Aldo, first of all, his ability, and second of all, his pride, I don't think he'd go out here and throw a fight. And I don't mean throw a fight in, like, the nasty sense of the word. I mean, like, I'll have a fight, don't care if I win or lose. I don't think he'd do that. I think he will take it as seriously as possible, and that's why I'm picking him to win, because I think he can probably get to 75% of Jose Aldo. Maybe he can get to it. And I think that'll be enough. If it's 50% of Jose Aldo, I think Martinez is good enough to beat him. But the other side of that is, and I'm throwing out percentages here, and I hate when people do that, and I'm doing it here as well. The other side of it is, right, Jose Aldo's the underdog at plus 138. Imagine if someone had told you 3 years ago Jose Aldo would be a plus 138 underdog against Jonathan Martinez. Have we seen any massive degradation in the ability of Jose Aldo? I don't think so. Now, has it happened? Maybe. But I'm going for that one. I'm going for Jose Aldo Jr. And I don't care. Plus 138. Okay. Next bet I'm going for here. This is a pretty simple one. I looked at this price and I was expecting it to be... it's not the greatest price in the world, but I was expecting it to be worse. I'm going for Kyle Borralho to win inside the distance against Paul Craig. And that is minus 175. Now, if you look around for this price, it's actually not on best fight odds last I checked. Let me just check again. I had to go somewhere else for... Actually, it is here now. Borralho inside distance. It's actually minus 125 now. Minus 125. Yeah, I'd seen it in a few different places, but here we go. Minus 125, and even better price than I was giving you. A great bet. I think it will happen. Now, the reason I think this is a very good bet, right, is... And this this is a contradiction here for a second, but Borralho has had a lot of decisions recently. 4 of his last 5 fights have gone to a decision. Abbas, Muradov, Petrosian, and Gadzi. He finished Olazechuk, but so I think the betting odds will be will be closer than they should be to him winning by decision. So let's look at Borralho by decision. Let's just see that here. I can actually pull it up and show it to you here. Borralho wins, if I can, not this one. Borralho wins by decision is plus 205, plus 175 around here. That's probably a little bit lower than it should be as well. Probably a little bit worse of a price. This is probably a little bit better of a price. Borralho to win inside the distance at plus 125. If you like him, look, submission plus 225, knockout plus 225 as well. The only thing, Craig submission obviously plus 900. Not a bad flyer if you're getting to it. But here's my thoughts on it. I think that Paul Craig is a good fighter, but I don't think he's on the level of Borralho. I think Borralho is going to be one of the best fighters in the world. I think he's an absolutely fantastic fighter. I think he'll beat him on the feet, and I think Paul Craig won't be able to submit him on the ground. He's too good on the ground. And once that happens, like, what does Paul Craig do? Like, Craig is dangerous. Okay, he's dangerous with arm bars, and he's dangerous with triangles, and he's dangerous with massive shots standing up. But Borralho has shown the ability, you know, to go to a decision, which I think will help him here and take his time. But if he does that, he'll eventually pick Craig apart. Like, I have a sneaking feeling this is going to be like a round 3 finish for Borralho. Let's see what price that is. That is plus 600. That I've an awful feeling. I do think Borralho is going to win. It could be earlier, but I feel like he's going to just take Craig apart piece by piece by piece, and Craig won't be able to survive it, and he'll get finished. So that I was taking it a plus 175, a plus 125. I think it's obviously even better. So yes, I am going for that as my third bet of the week. Bet number 4 is a guy I always bet on if he's a good enough price, and that is Drakkar Klose. I'm a big fan of his. He's fighting Silva. He's just about the favorite there at minus 160. And let me just check the updated price on that again. He is minus 160 is the best price on that. It was, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit closer earlier on. It was minus 142 when I was looking at it at first, but out to minus 160 now. Actually minus 180 in some places. But I think if you get him at that, it's good. Obviously, we know Silva, 35 years of age, BJJ guy, you know, doesn't have a whole load of submissions on his record, but he's good for your knockouts as well. A dangerous enough guy, but I like Drakkar Klose in terms of his, again, like I was saying about Borralho, his ability to control fights, his ability to change things up as well. We saw him coming back out from a year out last time out, and he got that unbelievable, in my opinion, knockout of the year slam against Joe Solecki. Absolutely brilliant. He is, I hate the word. Well, I can't even remember the word. I'm glad. Do you know that? What's it called? He does things different. A disruptor. There you go. I hate that fucking word. But anyway, he does things differently in MMA. Like, I credit him with bringing calf kicks into MMA more than anyone else. That fight against Mark Chikese, brilliant on it. That salam was absolutely brilliant. He does different things a lot, and he's well able to do them. He's one of those guys. I'd like to interview him. Maybe I will get a chance at some stage. I just think he's a smarter guy than a lot of people fighting in MMA. And against a guy like Silva, who is dangerous, you know, as I said, on the ground, but has knockout power as well, I just think he'll be able to kind of take him apart. He'll be able to work around him. And I think with that fight, you know, it was, 5-6 months ago now, so there's still a bit of time out there for him. I think he'll only look better having got that. He's 36 years of age now, so, you know, now is the kind of time for Drakkar to go to that next level. You know, at 155 pounds, it's not always easy. He's won 3 in a row, and he's going to have to win a few more. Besides that, you know, he lost to Beneil Dariush, and if he hadn't lost that, you know, where would he be? He'd probably be a lot further up. So he needs a big opportunity next, and I think this is the type of fight he wins. Like, he's lost losses. Beneil Dariush, David Timur, who was a real prospect at the time. And he's drawn once against Joshua Alves outside of the UFC. Those are his only losses. Like, he's beaten Jacasey, Venata, Green, Jagos, Jenkins, Garcia, Solecki. He doesn't lose to this level of fighter. And I think at minus 160, I think it's very good. I think that's a very good price. Right, to the flyer of the week, and there was only one choice for me for flyer of the week, and that's Steve Erceg via knockout plus 420. I really like it. I like Erceg's chances in this one. I think, and I'll pull up some of the prices here. Maybe we'll just go through them before we get to that. So the minus 190 for Pantoja, minus 185 best price, plus 160 for Erceg. I like that as well. I really like Erceg in this fight. Maybe I'm a bit mad, but the over unders as well. Under 3.5 rounds at plus 125. I like that. I think this fight's going to get finished. Under 4.5 rounds, minus 121. I love that price. I really, really, really like that price. Fight doesn't go to the decision as well. Minus 145. I like a bit of that. Pantoja, plus 450 knockout. Erceg, as I said, plus best price, plus 420. Here's the one I gave you. Erceg by submission. I don't think he's getting that. Pantoja by submission. Maybe plus 333. Pantoja inside the distance plus 165. Erceg inside the distance. This is another one I was looking at. I think if I saw my flyer, I like to give a bit of a bigger bet. I think if I was betting, no, actually, I'd go for the flyer. I'd go for the knockout. I don't think he's going to submit him, so I'd go for the plus 420 to be honest. So, I'll tell you why I like Erceg, right? I like Erceg because he's fearless, right? Okay, he's not the youngest guy in the world. He's young to the UFC, I suppose, and all of that. But you always hear about like these 18-year-old or 19-year-old soccer players that come through and they go, they're good because they're fearless. They don't know fear. They don't know anything else. And okay, he's 28 years of age and he's 30. But all of his fights so far, to me, have been like, he's going to go out there and he's going to fight his best and win and look good. And I know he doesn't have a load of knockouts in his career. He only has 2, right? And he has 6 submissions. So maybe I'll take it back. Maybe I'll go for that plus 320. The Flyers remain at plus 420. But I think, look, here's the other thing. I think against Pantoja, it'll be harder to get the submission. He's never been submitted himself. 10 submission wins. Obviously, we know how good he is on the ground. But here's the thing. I just think Erceg is going to go out there and fight him. I think he's going to go out and fight his best. He's going to throw that big head kick. He's going to throw his big hands. He's going to throw the big shot. He's going to go for takedowns if they're there. He's going to get on top. He's not going to be afraid of Pantoja on the ground. I think what Pantoja is very good at, right, is everything. He's very good at everything. But he throws it all and stays in there. And he looks so tired, but he keeps going. You know, the guys over in the Co-Main Event podcast, I think they call it the Mark Coleman or the Shogun. You know, you're breathing heavy, but you never stop. And he's really, really good at that. But I feel like Erceg is the type of guy who won't let it get to that. I feel like he's going to be cool and calm. And when Pantoja kind of loses a little bit, when the crowd gets behind him and he tries to throw mad things, I think Erceg is the type of guy who'll have ice in his veins, who'll take that kind of step back, launch that kick when Pantoja throws something mad or goes for a mad takedown or whatever. I think he'll prey on stuff like that. I think I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. And you know what? There isn't a whole load of top level tape on Erceg and all that. So I'm taking a bit of a chance here, as we all know, right? And that's what this is. Feel free to ignore this analysis, honestly. I just have an awful feeling Erceg is a really bad matchup for Pantoja. Now, that could be someone going to screen record that when Pantoja wins. Like, but look, I'm getting paid here to give you my opinion, and that's my opinion. I really like Pantoja as well, right? And I really like Erceg. I have an awful feeling, and maybe this is a bit unfair, but like, I don't get like champion for a long time vibes off of Pantoja. I feel like there's about 6 or 7 lads in that division now that are as good as each other, and he just kind of happens to be the one that's holding the belt at the moment, and one will emerge, right? Whether that one is Erceg or whether that one is Makayev or Cape or someone will emerge. Now maybe it'll be Pantoja, but I just don't think so. I just don't think it's him. And I like Erceg. I like the coolness. I like the calmness. And I think he'll win. Plus 420 for the knockout. Plus 320 inside the distance. There we go. Steve Erceg. Right. Let's run through some of the other prices there. We will go to the machine now and have a look. So we talked about Klose and Silva. Malarkey, another one. I always like Malarkey when he's an underdog. Don't know a whole pile about Mauricio Ruffi, but plus 170. Bonfim, big favourite there. Probably leave that to a side. Costa and Borjas, very even there as well. Let's go with the underdog. We'll come back to Oktagon in a second, and we'll come back to we looked at one championship already. We'll go from bottom to top here. William Gomis against John Silva. Can I get a price on Gomis by decision here? Because Gomis by decision is always the way to go on these ones. Plus 200. That's the bet I'd be going for there. In a close fight, Gomis by decision. I like the madness of Elvis Brenner. Plus 225. I know our Labai was very impressive when I saw him last. He, you know, I was going to say go for Elvis Brenner, but no, it's probably the wise bet. What about that one? What about the under in that one? Under 2.5 rounds, plus 120. Yeah, I'll go for that one. I'll go for the under. Kovalkiewicz is a big underdog against Lucindo. You never know. What's the over in that one? Over 1.5 rounds, minus 5. What about Lucindo by decision? She is plus 110. Yeah, maybe that, but I'd probably avoid that one. I like Jack Shore as the underdog here, to be honest, against Burrito. Burrito's a very good fighter, but Jack Shore, again, a bit underrated. What about Jack Shore by submission, maybe? He's plus 1,000 to get the knockout. To get the submission, he's plus 470. That's a good flyer. Jack Shore by submission plus 470. I like that as a flyer. I love Borralho there. We talked about that. Poteria and Pereira. Like Pereira an awful lot there. Pereira inside the distance. Let's see if we can get a price on that. Pereira inside the distance is minus 280. Not a great price. No, I'd probably leave that one to a side. I went back and watched a bit of Petrino there about an hour ago, and I'm not at all massively convinced on him at look minus 650. No thanks. I've never been the biggest Anthony Smith fan, to be honest, as a fighter. That's unfair. I am a fan of Anthony Smith as a fighter, but I don't think he's the best fighter in the world. I honestly, if I was betting on someone, I'd bet on Anthony Smith, because Petrino he hits hard, but like watching a fight against Tyson Pedro, who is not the best fighter in the world, wasn't massively impressive. I watched a good bit of tape of him coming into that fight as well. Wasn't massively impressed in that either, but I'd probably leave that one alone, to be honest. And we talked about obviously the co-main and the main then as well. What price is Aldo by decision? Let's just have a quick look at that. Aldo wins by decision is at plus 215. Plus 215 Aldo by decision. So that is it's a pretty good one there. Right. Let's have a quick look. We had a look at one championship. Obviously, let's have a look at Oktagon. Christian Eckerling, the hometown favorite, he's minus 175 against Miroslav Borz. Borz is a good fighter as well, plus 130. Probably go for Eckerling there. Another flyer I was looking at is Agi Sardari, plus 400. That to me is a crazy price there. Now, Sardari's the type of guy, if he shows up, that'll be a close fight. If he doesn't, he'll get taken out. Loisin Keita is a top fighter. I do think he will win, but the plus 400 to me is a bit big in that one. And the other fight I just wanted to mention there is Lewis Glicksman. That price, I believe, has changed. Can we just have a look at that? Oh no, I looked at it somewhere else, and I believe he was a lower price than that, but I think he was actually the underdog at one stage. But can you see it there? Sorry, minus 175 for Glicksman. I'd go for him in that one there. So those are your bets for the week. Those are the events that's going on this weekend, and I think it should be good old fun. Let's have a quick recap. My first bet is Yong over one championship, plus 160. My plus 138 for Jose Aldo Jr. Kai Borralho wins inside the distance to minus 125. Minus 160 for Drakkar Klose. And the flyer of the week is Steve Erceg via knockout at plus 420 man. That's it from me. My name is Sheehan for Sherdog.com. Leave your bet for the week in the comment section below. Please bet responsibly. We'll see you next time. Good luck.